Hi, this is Pastor Dan from Deseret Church right here in Downey, and this is tonight's Wednesday Win. Our Wednesday Wins are testimonies from some of the people in our congregation. And tonight we have someone that's been part of our church ever since she was a young teenager. And she's kind of grown up in our church, and she just happens to be our media ministry leader. So stay tuned. Her name is Marti Boots.
Hi, my name is Marty, and today I will be sharing my testimony. I would say I've had a pretty normal life growing up. I was born and raised in church. My mom was a pastor, my grandpa was a pastor. I literally have been going to church my entire life. I would say my testimony really began when I was 5 years old. My mom was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She dealt with that for 12 years until she went home to be with the Lord in November of 2013. Other than having to deal with my mom going through cancer, I really had a normal life growing up. I didn't do drugs, there was no drinking, no partying, none of that. It was a pretty normal life growing up. My mom had cancer, but there was nothing really that changed. Yes, we had to deal with going through chemos and surgeries, but when she passed away in November of 2013, it really was loss after loss. We had lost somebody in 2008 all the way to 2013. In 6 years, I lost 5 people in my life that were really close to me. So when I lost my mom, it was hard. I feel like I was actually, without realizing it, really angry at God because I felt like He had taken her away from me and too early. I think part of it was because while she was going through chemo and surgeries, we were told by a lot of family members and a lot of close friends that they all basically were what we felt like they were prophesying over her, that she was not going to die from this and that she was going to continue living and that everything would be fine. So when she passed away, it really broke my heart because I felt like I had been lied to and I felt like God had taken her away, but I wasn't really sure why. And so a lot of anger came up because of that, and later down the road, I would say about 7 years from then, anxiety ended up really taking over, and I couldn't even hang out with friends. I couldn't really do anything, and I was really like just stuck in that place. We had an event that I wanted to go to for my birthday. We'd been planning it for months, and even when I got there, there was so much anxiety in my life that I couldn't even stay, and I ended up having to leave early, and it was for my own birthday, and that really, when I look back at it, it really hurts to see that I was even in that place because I've just never seen myself as that kind of person. I know that everything that I'd been through in my life, without even knowing it, that it really did have an effect on me. I would have a lot of anxiety, a lot of things that would have been built up were really starting to come out and manifest themselves that had been really suppressed over those 7 years after my mom died. And all the anger was finally starting to come out because I was finally actually talking about those things and the things that I had to deal with. But I would say about the beginning of 2020 is when things really started to change in my life. Right before all of COVID hit, I really started to press in and surrender to God and surrender to the things that I couldn't control. I surrendered all of that to Him, and I really started to press in and actually dive into my relationship with God. And through all of that, things really started to change in my life, where any little situation that used to really overwhelm me wouldn't really affect me as much anymore, because I knew that I could recognize what was happening to myself and in my body, that I knew if I could feel that anxiety was starting to come, I immediately would give it to God and just say, no, you have control over this. It's not meant for me to do anything with it. And I was really able to surrender that to God, and things really started to shift in my life. And I would say from time to time, yes, I still do deal with anxiety. There are still things that I tend to panic over when I know I shouldn't. But I would say my life has definitely changed a lot, and there was a turning point at the beginning of 2020, and even throughout all of COVID, with everything that everybody around us has dealt with, I've really put my trust in God, knowing that no matter what the situation looks like, I know that He's in control and that He is a good God, and that things will change and will turn around, and that He can use even these situations of me dealing with anxiety and the situations of dealing with the loss that I had to deal with for so many years, that I know God can use that. And through all of that, I've become a stronger person, and I know that no matter what happens, that God is always in control of everything and that He's going to work everything out for the better. And I think knowing that now, things have definitely changed, and I can look back and see how much I've grown over the years. I would say that even though, yes, it sucked to lose my mom and my grandpa and all my family members that I lost over those 6 years, I would say I definitely am not the same person. And that situation, I grew from it. And I'm not saying that things wouldn't be different even if she was still here, but I think going through that situation was really what I needed to deal with in my life to grow into the person that I am today. And through all of this, I know that no matter what, God is always in control of everything. And for any of you that are watching this that have dealt with anxiety or are dealing with it, dealing with fear, anything that's crippling you and paralyzing you like that, just know that you can give it to God and that He really can take that situation and He can use it and He can mold you through that. And you can get through this and you will be a stronger person because of it. So the verse that really helped me through all of this, that really reminded me to surrender all of this anxiety to God, was Philippians 4:6, and it says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." Every time I read this, it was really a reminder that I really needed to surrender everything in my life, all the things that I felt like I didn't have control over, and I needed to surrender all of those to God. And I really did that through prayer. And a lot of that also, I had the help of my grandma being the prayer pastor here at Desert Rain. Anytime I was feeling anxious, she was always there to help pray with me. And because she went through all of these situations too, she knows what it's like to surrender all of this and to stop asking the why question of, why, God, did you take my daughter away? Why did you take my mom away? And she really helped me through all of that. And through all of this and through prayer and everything, I really was able to surrender all of it in my life, surrender all of my need for control over everything in my life. I was able to really let go and let God do what He needed to do in my life. So I really hope that this message really encourages you tonight, and I pray that whatever season that you're going through right now, whatever situation you might be in, that you really lean into God and you lean into that prayer and you surrender it all to God and you just let go and let Him do what He needs to do in your life.
So a lot went on in Marti Jo's young life, and through those years there was a lot of pain. And the interesting part is that she was a part of this congregation. She had gone to church, she had people praying for her, she knew scripture, and she quoted this one that was Philippians 4:6, and she hung on to that scripture where it says to put all your anxieties away and offer them up to the Lord and pray about everything, and rather than worry about everything. And if you read farther on in that chapter, it goes to putting it into practice. In verse 9 it says to put it into practice. And by putting it into practice, we need to surrender. And you notice at that point where Marti Jo did surrender, that things started to change for her. Healing did come, and the Lord did do some work in her life. And it's really interesting that it was in 2020, in a year where there was just a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty, and the Lord chose to put a healing on Marti Jo through that season. The Lord will come in the least likely of circumstances, like He did for Marti Jo. In the year 2020, He came in and did a amazing work in her life. And I believe for you, it could be the least likely thing that would happen. But you know what? If you offer up to the Lord, miracles happen. I just want to encourage you today. If you're going through some anxiety today, if you've got things that you're worried about, I'm just encouraging you that you would just offer it up to the Lord, that you would pray about it, and let's just see what the Lord would do with that. So thank you for tuning in and watching this Wednesday Win. God bless you and have a wonderful evening.